this is Rachel from Red Ant Fashions, and today I'm going to show you how to make one of my bustles. Okay, so today we are going to make a bustle. So everyone wants to know, how is it that you make your bustles? Now, you can just basically make it out of scrap fabric. The way that I do it is I use any types of fabric that I have that are really pretty, or I think would make a really cool bustle. There's like different rules of sewing, just basic rules that everyone knows. If you're a beginner, you don't know as far as like the grains of the fabric. And the grains of the fabric is the way that the fibers all are weaved together. They go straight up and down and vertical across. So basically, if you cut at an angle on that, you're cutting on the bias, which is going to give it more roundness, more of a curve. If you want to create more of a flow. For a bustle, we don't really have to do that. So we can cut on the vertical grain of the fabric. So basically, I have my fabric. I folded it long ways, as you can see, so that way it's not overly long. Now, you can do it one of two ways to create your long panels. Here's a panel, for instance. This is what it's going to look like. Basically, I cut my strip and then I'm going to serge it, as you can see, all the way across on my squares, because I don't want my fabric to fray. Now, some people want that, and if you want that frayed raw look of the fabric disintegrating basically and fraying at the end, that's okay. And some people like that and some people do that, and that's an actual real style and look, and it's alright to do that. I like it to have a more of a finished edge, and that's kind of my signature look for the bustles that Red Ant makes, so this is how we do it. There's one of two ways. I mean, I eyeball a lot of stuff. You can either take a Sharpie and create your panels as long as you want them, or you can just cut straight across. I'm not too worried about personally, because I think it gives it more character if my panels aren't exactly even all the way across. Some people can't handle that, and that's totally fine. That's, you know, your own prerogative. And if you need to, you can take a ruler and create all of your panels the same width apart. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut my panels. Okay. So basically, I've created my strips. So the next step would basically be using the serger to basically serge all of the edges all the way around all four sides of each of my strips. Now, some people can't afford sergers, some people don't have a serger, and they go, well, if I don't have a serger, what do I do? If you have just a straight stitch sewing machine and it has the ability or the knob to do a zigzag all four sides along the edge. That'll prevent your fabric from fraying, and it gives you the same effect. It doesn't have the smooth, nice edges that an overlock basically visually gives, but it will do the same kind of thing. I mean, basically, it's the same concept. It basically prevents the fabric from fraying. It just doesn't have that fine edging of the overlock machine gives it. But give me 1 second. We're going to show you how to serge. So basically, I'm just going to put the fabric under the foot. I have to create basically the base of the bustle, which is something to actually attach these panels onto. So I have this piece of fabric that I'm going to use. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to lay it out flat, like such. And I'm going to create a half circle. And this part I will use a Sharpie pen, because it's not going to show, but just so that I have an idea of where I want to cut. And I'm going to create, as you can see, the half circle. Alright, so as you can see, I have my half circle. And I've cut it, and then I've serged all the way around it. Same way I did my panels, but it's more of a shape. Now what I'm going to do with my sewing machine, basically how I'm going to do this, is I line it up this way. And basically what we're going to do with the fabric is I'm going to pleat it. So when I sew it, I'm just going to fold it like such. I don't know if you can see that. But I'm going to fold it like such and top stitch it down. And the reason being is, if you can see, I'm going to try to show you, when I fold it down like that, what it's doing is it's creating this little ruffle. This is the quick, fast, easy way to make a ruffle. And there's no need to spend more time than needs to on something like this. But as you can see how it creates that ruffle? So I'm going to top stitch that down, and once I do that, I'm going to lift it and I'm going to create another row. And when I do that, I'm going to do the same thing with leaving a little bit of a gap in between so that when it's upright like this, as you can see, it creates a layer. So I'm just going to keep doing that all the way across, all the way down till I hit the bottom, giving it ruffle layered looks. Okay, so as you can see, I've created all of my ruffles. So it ruffles all the way down. This is what the back side looks like. It's just basically a panel, but it's all serged and edged. You can still see the seam lines, but again, that's where your bum's gonna go, so it doesn't matter. If you wanted to get clever, you could create pockets, and then underneath your bustle in the back, you can have little stash pockets to hide your goodies, your cash ID, your cigarettes, or whatever. Everyone's different, but I mean, if you wanted to find a stash spot, that would be the perfect place to create a pocket with a button and put it. Mine don't come that way, but it is an idea, it's a concept that can happen. You just gotta do it yourself. Now the next step would be to put on a waistband, because that doesn't look good, the raw edges. So I have ribbon that I use. It's 50% rayon, 50% cotton. It's a thicker ribbon. I get it in spools. I have it in all sorts of different colors. You can use strips of fabric, you can use ribbon, you can use whatever you want for your waistband, but this is what I use. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my sewing machine onto zigzag, and I'm basically going to fold that down at the edge so that it's got a nice finished edge, and then I'm going to zigzag the top and the bottom so that my waistband is attached like such. So give me one sec, I'll be right back. Okay, so now I'm down in the basement. I have finished putting on my waistband. As you can see, it is top stitched down. I kind of messed up a little bit on the top edge, got a little bit crooked. I'll go back and fix that after I finish this part. The bottom line looks pretty straight. There's just a couple touch-ups I'll have to do. But once you finish that, basically I come down to my basement. I have a grommet press. As you can see, that's a grommet press. And the handle basically, I'm sorry, punches down that way. I'm retarded and can't seem to remember how to use my own tool. And basically what it's going to do is these different dies I put on, I set them differently. Each die is a different size, and it's basically the two little attachments. They call them dies. I have ones that I put in here, and there's a little screw at the bottom that you tighten and loosen, which raises and lowers this so that creates different tension so that I can tighten my, I know how taut I want my grommets to sit in the holes I'm going to create. But basically one die will create the hole, and then I'll put in this die and it'll basically set the grommets for me. Not everybody has a grommet press. I know that if you go to Michael's or what is that, Joann Fabrics or any of the fabric stores, you can buy a handheld press, and it's the same concept, except that it's either a handheld press or they give you the tool to set it and then you hammer it in. I can't stand those, A, because I always smash my fingers and accidentally hit my hands instead of where I'm trying to aim. And the other thing is that if you screw up, it smashes the grommets and they don't look professionally done, and then they fall out and they're just not set as well. So I invested the money. You can basically, what I did was I went to fastener.com, and they have different types of grommet presses. This kind is just its own handle. So basically I just had Chris bolt it down to a table for me, and it works. There's all sorts of fancy industrial ones where it's got a foot pedal and it's attached to a table already. This one was $199, and that included my first set of dies with it, and it was from fastener.com, like I said. There's other companies online that sell them as well. I buy grommets by the gross, black, gold, and silver. I get them straight through that company, or if you don't want to go through them for grommets, I know that corsetmaking.com you can buy them. I just found that they're more affordable through fastener.com because that's fastenersupply.com because that's where I got the grommet press, so they already know who I am. So it's just cheaper for me to buy them in bulk. So as you can see, I put in different dies. This one's where the hole's gonna happen. This is the top that's gonna punch the hole. So I'm gonna take my corners like such, pull my handle down, and see how easy that was. That made a hole. I don't know if you can tell. There you go. Alright, so I'm gonna do that to the other side, and then I'm gonna put my grommets in. Okay, so I've changed the dies out, and as you see, this one has a little tongue that comes out and this side is flat. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take every grommet comes with a little flat one and one that looks like this, for those that don't know. And basically how I'm going to put it on there is one side has more of a curve in it, a dip. I'm going to put it facing the dip up. Then I'm going to take the fabric I want grommeted, and I'm going to place it like that. I'm going to take this top part with the little, oh, I dropped that, with the tongue part facing down. So I'm going to put it like such. So the little part that sticks out is facing down, and then I'm going to press down and lift it, and as you can see how easy that is, voila, there's a grommet. And if I try to twist it, it's tight, so it's not going to move. So it can handle the tension of being pulled on. And again, how I did that was there's a bolt underneath that I just screw tighter or looser, which is going to push this up, which is going to create a tighter tension. So I'm going to do the other side now. And I'm going to do it just the same. And as you can see, they're both grommeted, and that's so much faster than having to do it by hand. Now you know why I took the money and invested it. Alright, so as you can see, there's my finished bustle. And as we come around here, this is basically how it's going to sit on you or whoever. So basically, as you can tell, I put the grommets on it and then I attach string to it. This is it's like a ribbon cording that I have. You can use ribbon, you can use any type of cording, you can use elastic, whatever you want to, use your imagination, be creative about it. And I just looped it through, did a little slip knot through the grommet hole, and voila, I just basically tie it on your waist. I like, when I wear it, I like to tie it off to the side so I can tuck the strings. Now when I make them and sell them, I always make the strings super, super long because I don't know how people are going to wear them. And some women like to wear them differently. I've had women take these bustles and wear them up top on their breast as a blouse. They've seen them worn in front as a apron or as a bustle. So I mean, the strings, I leave them long so that you can use your imagination and wear it and incorporate it into your own outfit as you see fit. I mean, if you wanted, you can even wear it almost as a cape or a shrug and wrap it over your shoulders and drape it and tie it underneath, creating a ruffle coming over, as you can see, on both sides. So it just kind of depends on what you want to do with it and what cosplay event you're going to. But that's basically how you create a red ant bustle.